Coming up, we're connecting you with the creativity and culture in your community, including a multimedia performer and artist singing songs of love and liberation.
We're always trying to connect with our souls, our bodies, our minds, and we're never really just one thing.
Photographer turned entrepreneur Lenny Underwood puts his socks on one at a time, just like everyone else. The only difference is he made them himself.
Creating my own pathway and even mentoring other businesses along the way, and being that example, for my community and others around me was compelling.
And bite into one of the best hot dogs in the state at an iconic eatery in North Adams.
12 seats, a couple of grills, lots of dogs, lots of burgers, and lots of locals coming in.
Join us for those stories and more as we explore the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. Up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Welcome, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point, your source for creativity, culture, and community. I'm Saidalis Bauer. Each week this summer, we're exploring all that Western New England has to offer, and today we're coming to you from the college town of Amherst, Massachusetts in Hampshire County. Perhaps known best as the home of the flagship school in the Massachusetts State University system, the town also lays claim to prestigious Amherst College. With more than 30,000 students living here during the academic year, it's no wonder that Amherst boasts a robust retail and dining scene, as well as plenty of arts, culture, and music both in town and nearby. And speaking of music, our first story tonight sounds a sweet note. Diana Alvarez is an expansive multimedia artist and educator. Her soulful music is bilingual, and she says the intent behind her original songs is to exalt queer love, liberation, and to fiercely sing out against oppression. She grew up in South Texas, but now calls the Pioneer Valley her home, and producer Dave Frazier brings us her story.
For a long time in my life, I knew that I was a singer, I was a vocalist and a writer. And I knew I wanted to write songs. And eventually I realized, and it was because of, losing family, that I realized I needed to center art in my world. And I needed to do that in a way that felt that my whole self was being part of the practice. Won't let them take me away. Well, I don't really identify with the word Hispanic. It is a term that was given to us in colonization, and I identify as a Chicana, Chicanx human, a person of Mexican-American ancestry. I was just finishing my MFA program at Sarah Lawrence College. I was working on an MFA in writing, and I came out here with my first queer love, and we were looking at this area as a queer haven. And I was really excited by what I had heard was a vibrant art scene.
What a difference a day made.
I work in multiple mediums as a singer-songwriter, as a poet, composer, filmmaker, and I'm also a scholar and educator. But really what it means is I sit down and I try to create an experience where I'm connecting to other humans, because we have bodies. We're always trying to connect with our souls, our bodies, our minds, and we're never really just one thing. So it's just my way of being honest about it. I use that word as my stage name, Doctora Chingona. One, because I want other people to know that PhD scholars can look like me and can do all the things I do and can be artistic, and that we have a right to call ourselves badasses for everything we do. You are the sound of feel like these very profound life lessons have come from just walking. And it started as a grief practice. When I lost family, I started going out to hike early in the morning and just, you know, trying to connect with the land. And I think there's something about the way that our full body is engaged. We're sweating, our blood is flowing. It really shifts something for me internally and spiritually. You know, when I go for a hike, right after, often I'll start writing. I'll just do a free write.
Cuando vuelve a tu lado.
In 2020, we were playing virtually so much, and I would put so much energy into a video or into a virtual show, and sometimes there would be people in the chat, and that was great. But many times, it was like putting all this energy out into, and it would just fall flat. So I try to hold on to those moments where people would tell me how much it meant to them. Because at the end of the day, I'm not just creating for myself, to listen to myself, I'm really trying to reach other humans.
I love.
Entrepreneur Lenny Underwood's story is a literal example of a dream come true. After dreaming one night of owning a sock line business, he followed his intuition, and just a few years later, Upscale Socks was born. Already an established photographer since 2004, Underwood launched this new venture in 2016, and I spoke with him to learn more about his pathway to entrepreneurship.
So when I had that dream in the summer of 2014, I woke up, told a friend about it. We both thought it was a great idea, but neither of us ever worked in retail before. And so for a whole year, it bugged me on how to get started, how to, formalize the idea. But something in me said, it's never the perfect time. I knew that eventually I would find resources that would be able to help me, be it human resources or financial resources, or just bootstrap the whole business myself, which I ended up doing. But what made it so compelling was I enjoy fashion, and it was another aspect of me expressing my creative side through fashion and just something I've never, had the opportunity to do as a business.
Now, speaking of businesses, before Upscale Socks, you were already an established photographer with your photography company, Underwood Photography. You started that back in college, and so you've been doing photography for almost 20 years now. Yes. What is it about entrepreneurship that has always intrigued you? Why was that the career pathway that you decided to take?
I would say it was by accident because, when I was doing photography, even in high school, it was more of a hobby. It wasn't anything that I thought it would turn into a long-term career. My family would encourage me to get a real job, that was just a hobby and nothing that would make I would end up being a starving artist, or I would need that support. I just knew that creating my own pathway and way to, find financial wealth and even mentoring other businesses along the way and being that example, for my community and others around me was compelling and great in itself. And it's been wonderful just to see it all blossom.
You are a native of Springfield, born and raised, and that is something that's really prevalent in Upscale Socks. You have given donations to Square One, have started scholarships, Friends of the Homeless. What is it about giving back to your community that you really connect with? Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, well, to whom much is given, much is required. So I feel as though it's my duty to, in whatever fashion it may be, contribute back to the community in a in kind or financial way. When I had the vision for Upscale Socks, I wanted to make sure I had an arm that was philanthropic as well. And so it's called Suit Your Souls, where we do just that, suit the souls of those in the community and beyond.
So let's talk about the designs and the creativity aspect of the business. You designed some special socks for certain causes, and you have everything from classic Argyle, cotton candy leopard, and even you pay homage to the city of Springfield as the city of first. So what's the process, the creativity process that goes in behind designing the socks? What does that look like for you?
So a lot of what you have said comes from different inspiration that I may see within the area, or someone may share an idea with me, or I may dream about an idea. So they come in several different forms, and so I may go back and forth on what colors or what I should include in that design.
Now, I know this is probably one of the most challenging questions to answer, but do you have a favorite design that you've created, or is there something that you haven't created yet that's been on your mind?
Great question. So one of my favorite color is blue. I really like Argyle socks. It has blues and green, as well as I like to see a first sock because it's representing where I'm from, and the feedback has been really great. And I think that's been my #1 seller over the last 3 years. So those are, I would say, the ones that stick out in my head for now, and have quite a bit of styles coming out in the near future that are more theme-based, as well as contributing to the cause community as well.
Lenny, you have two businesses that heavily rely on the consumers, right? And so you're with photography, you rely on the people, and then the retail industry. Both have been hit really hard during this pandemic. So how have you managed to stay afloat during these really trying times, and what have you learned?
Yeah, I've learned that I wasn't in this journey by myself, and we had to rely on other people around us for that moral support. And my faith, so prayer, and just really believing in that we're going to get through this together, and I just have to be patient and do my part as well. So applying for grants locally or nationally, statewide, those resources are still available. So tapping into those as much as possible, being creative about how you can approach sales. So utilizing my social media. Many of the models that you have seen on my page never met before until I started reaching out for, to see their interest. So that allowed me to get creative in how I approach, marketing Upscale Socks.
Now, you talked about, having resources. What local resources have been available to you to help support your entrepreneurship journey?
So when I had the idea for Upscale Socks in 2014, in 2015, I was the second cohort for, at the time it was called Spark Holyoke, now called E for All, out of Holyoke, and they were really supportive and helpful in me getting the footing for Upscale Socks. Not necessarily give me the answers to all of my questions, but it gave me direction so that I knew, okay, well, I can survey 100 individuals in the community and get feedback on what kind of styles or colors that they like when they shop for socks. So it certainly has been a wonderful resource in the greater Springfield community, amongst so many others that are available, and Valley Venture Mentors being another one, where if you're a small business, or even if you're in college, they have the summer collegiate program through UMass as well. So tapping into those local incubators or startup business programs is vital.
There's perhaps nothing more quintessentially American than a good old-fashioned hot dog. In the summertime here in New England, they're pretty much ubiquitous, be it at a backyard barbecue or a neighborhood eatery. But what does it take to serve hot dogs for over a century? Brian Sullivan traveled to North Adams and Jack's Hot Dogs to find out how they've served up this American classic since 1917.
Eagle Street in North Adams has only one way in, with an entrance that looks like something we might see in a history book of what people thought the modern American street would look like heading into the 20th century. There's also one business on this historic road that appears as though it's been here since shovels first hit the ground in this section of downtown. And since 1917, it's managed to outlive nearly every other local business that's popped up here from World War I to present day. So how did something as simple as a place that sells hot dogs and hamburgers survive over a century's worth of economic downturns and catastrophes? Well, the answer is actually quite simple.
We put out our food as cheaply and as efficiently. It's always fresh, it's inexpensive, and people, we rely on repeat customers. It's a very simple process.
12 seats, a couple of grills, friolators, lots of dogs, lots of burgers, steamed buns, and lots of locals coming in. That's been the recipe for success here. And even though North Adams has trended more artsy and touristy since the late 1990s, Jack's has always been the townie spot for generations of working class folks raising their families here. Whether they're working at the hospital, the bank, hanging sheetrock, pounding nails, or doing whatever they have to do to maintain a bottom line, this has been their lunch counter.
This is the people you need to take care of. This is the people we cater to. It's like the cherry on the sundae to have tourists come in. But I know January, February, and March, you need your regular customers in here. And those regular customers are your contractors, and everybody you just mentioned.
That philosophy of taking care of locals was preached by Jeff's grandfather, the first generation of this Greek family enterprise. Now in its fourth generation, with Jeff's son Joe in the mix manning the grill. Apparently, the philosophy works because there are still customers coming in who've been here for all 4 generations.
I've been coming here for 74 years. Can you imagine that? I sat in there, I sat there, and my mother sat next to me. 74 years.
And it's not just for the townies. If memory serves, they used to let college creeps like me in here too.
Back when I was in college out here, none of us had cars, so we almost never ventured out beyond our 1-block radius of campus. But on those rare occasions when we had an extra couple of bucks in our pockets, we would walk a few more blocks to come down here to Jack's.
Turns out that the couple of bucks I had back in 1995 could still serve me well now, all these years later. In that case, I'll have a chili cheeseburger and a double cheese with onions, mustard, and relish. I did have to wonder, though, for a place that does zero advertising, and aside from the giant hot dog out front, no marketing either, how is it possible to stay afloat with prices that really don't reflect the current day and age?
Owning the property I'm in, I don't have a mortgage. I can keep my prices down. That's another thing my grandfather always said. If you own the property you're in, you don't have to pay rent. You don't have to pay mortgage. You can keep your prices down. He was adamant on keeping the prices down as low as you can, and he always told me, "You're never going to get rich owning Jack's, but if you take care of it, it will take care of you."
Every week, Connecting Point explores the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. But it doesn't stop there. You can find us online anytime for exclusive features and content. After a 2-year hiatus due to the pandemic, the Berkshire Mountains Fairy Festival returned to Adams, Massachusetts. Costumes, elf ears, fairy wings, wizard robes, and broomsticks were all on display at the event, which was held in June. This year's festival was held in honor of director and artist Phil Sellers, who unexpectedly passed away in 2020. And producer Dave Frazier takes us there in this digital exclusive.
A kind of whimsical sense of all our cares and woes and just letting those go and going back to fantasy and fairy tales and things that people, no matter where they are in the world, have stories and lore. They look into that which can't be seen.
You can find that digital exclusive online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Growing up in the hills of Western Massachusetts, Astrid Sheckels always had a knack for telling and drawing stories and has managed to turn those skills into a full-time career. Now an award-winning author and illustrator, Sheckels has recently released the second installment of her popular children's series entitled Hector Fox and the Raven's Revenge. Sheckels joined me for a conversation about her career and discusses what she enjoys most about this line of work.
I had difficulty learning to read with dyslexia issues, so I gravitated naturally to books where the illustrations told the story, where you could just look at the book and the illustrations really carried the narrative. So, and also when I was little, I was always drawing and telling stories through my drawings, and my dad would draw with me. My mom very patiently would listen to all the stories I would tell. So it was just something that was nurtured and developed while I was young, and I just kept going with it.
How great is that your parents were able to nurture that and you really followed a career to that pathway. And now here we are talking because your recent second installment of your popular Hector Fox and Friends book has been released, which is entitled Hector Fox and the Raven's Revenge. I know that you also mentioned that you felt right at home when creating this series. So how was that so, and where did the idea come from for this 4-part installment?
Along with drawing, I have always loved animals. So being able to take and create this world for a group of anthropomorphic animals that just go on these adventures just felt really, it did feel like coming home. And it, I guess, just developing characters that sort of break the stereotype. The main character is a fox, and he's not the typical storybook fox, mean and about to eat everybody and kind of creepy, and has sort of a slyness to him. Hector Fox is he's kind, he is smart, but he's kind and he's cultured and he loves books and has paintings on his walls and just gets along really well with a whole group of animals. Many of them in the natural world would be his prey, but they get along really well. It's very much from my own imagination. When I was first starting out doing books, everything was very realistic. So if you look me up see a book list of my earlier works, they are much more very grounded in reality. And then here with this series, just being able to let my imagination kind of run wild was really fun and took me definitely in new places and just trying to see how I could get characters in these, or I guess characteristics in these animals to really come through.
Yeah, it's just like the child inside of you that imagines you'd be in the forest and all these animals would be your friend and they talk to you. So I totally get that. And I know that your books are catered to young readers. So what is it that you enjoy most about writing and illustrating for children's books?
So I love being able to share these fun, imaginative stories with children, especially through the illustrations, and really letting the illustrations do the telling. With this kind of picture book, you really want the text and the artwork to work hand in hand. Like if you take the illustrations away, the story isn't going to work. And I would hope that this would encourage children to go outside and go exploring. And when they come across a tree, say, hey, that could be Hector's tree. Or in the case of this new book, oh, there's a feather. What does this feather actually mean? Is there some meaning behind this feather I've just found? And ask those kind of questions, those kind of what if, and then let your imagination go.
The illustrations in your book are just absolutely breathtaking. And I know that you describe your style as classic realism and whimsy. Has that always been the style that you were drawn to? And why is that something that has piqued your interest?
That's a good question. I at first was doing a lot of very realism. I have a fine art background, so some of that does come in, which is why my illustrations are extremely detailed. As a child, I really loved illustrations where the longer you looked at it, the more you saw, where you could stay with it for quite a while. And I really wanted to do that with my illustrations. So it's imaginative, which is where the whimsy comes in. It's imaginative. It's actually really hard to create a whole world that's purely from my imagination. It takes a lot more work than just being able to look at a reference photo and be like, oh yeah, tree, okay. But to make a tree that rings true for Hector's world. I think one reason Hector's world probably has it does have a familiar feel to it, because we walk outside into our backyard or into a park or something, and you will start seeing the trees that are around him, or the swampy areas, or even stone towers around this area. You can come across a stone tower in the woods, or even just like an old foundation or something, but it does ring true and does have this New England feel. And I wanted to make sure that was coming through. So sometimes I spend a lot of time going around looking in the woods and bringing that inspiration into my artwork.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I was looking through the illustrations in your book, immediately it transported me back into my childhood. And I had this like sense of this carefree feeling that you really only truly have when you're young. So
Right.
as an artist, what do you hope that readers see and feel when they're engaging with your work?
Well, I really hope that they will do what I've been doing and what the characters in the books do, is go out and go exploring. And I also hope that it will be this kind of carefree, safe feeling, as in when the characters are together, it doesn't really matter if they encounter a giant or if there's some kind of mystery they're needing to solve that's maybe a little scary, but it's not, because they're together. And together they are in a safe place and they can have these really fun adventures.
And that does it for this edition of Connecting Point. Remember, you can always find all of the stories that you saw in this episode, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and so much more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Our thanks to the town of Amherst for hosting us today. And please be sure to join us again every week right here for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm Saidalis Bauer. Thanks for watching and take care.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers